This is Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Watch and listen for the very latest news and interviews from within the Big Red Machine.
Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. This is Starcast, your official podcast of the Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Back here for episode number 16. Opening quote courtesy of Jeff Merrick. Great to see him back on the airwaves this week with his brand new show on the Nation Network. Great to have him back in the media circus, as it were. But our media circus is back for another week to talk about all things Billingham Stars. Carol and John are here with me for another packed episode, I am sure. Carol, Jono, evening. How's things?
Good evening. Yeah, all well.
All is very well in the Billingham world. We'll do our usual review of last weekend. We've got the results and tables around NIHL North. We've got a big weekend to look forward to. We've got a very special guest as well to bring in very shortly. But before we get into that, just bring in a couple of pieces of news which people may or may not have seen. It was announced yesterday, he says. I think we did that yesterday, yes.
Yes.
By the magic of television, we have graphics. Forward Conor McNulty is now a full-time Billingham Star. We had a two-way with Kilmarnock. That is now converted to a permanent deal to be a Billingham Star. So you'll train with us and be available for all of the games from here on in. Starting with some double-headery thing this weekend. So great to have Conor on board. I see he joined us, made an instant impact in pre-season. Always good scoring against your local rivals, get you off the mark there. So great to have Conor on board and having him train with us as well. I think we mentioned this before, having him train with us to get more akin to his line mates, so he's going to be able to make a contribution. Do you want to say anything about that, or is it just thumbs up and we'll move on?
Yeah, great signing. You just said it. Yeah, having him table train is a big thing, and he'll only improve from that.
Yeah, fantastic. Last week's guest on the pod, we had Jodie Alderson-Smith, who's Great Britain's women's captain, and we mentioned her team were playing their big rivals in league action at the weekend, and Jodie did a win, 9-4, big goal-scoring game. Jodie netted a couple of the GB girls all on target as well. So they're top of the table going into a Christmas break in the Women's Elite League. So well done to Jodie and the Solihull Vixens. A reminder as well, as we said again last week, GB's women in Olympic qualifying action next weekend, the 12th, the 14th and the 15th of December at Ice Sheffield. They play the Netherlands, they play Spain and they play Latvia. All that information on Ice Hockey UK. And talking about Ice Hockey UK, again, throwing back to one of our guests, we had Colin Davison on a few weeks ago from the Ice Hockey UK referee section, and he mentioned about IHF licenses. Well, again, last week they confirmed 12 of our officials are going to be doing IHF World Championships this season. The competition season starts very soon. Mention for Amy Campbell, our very own Amy Campbell's an assignment. Felicity Monroe, who did a lot of Stars games last season. She's now at university in Bristol and has done National League. So she's going to the under-18s in Latvia, with the tournament GB are at. Some great young officials coming through. Philippa, who was at our game last week, 3-4 months after giving birth, she's back in the World Championship scene. So well done to Philippa. The guys as well, great to see them. And Holly Neenan doing the top division women's under-18s early next year as well. I was going to have a full-on rant, but I just can't be bothered. But people on social media just get in the sea talking about the refs. They're scouted by our coaches, by IHF coaches. They're picked, they're assessed, they're worth it. They are very good. And just because you don't like how they call your games, just get in the sea. And some of the crap on Holly Neenan as well is ridiculous. But enough of that. We're here to have a good time. So that's that.
Get in the sea.
Yeah, just
that's not how
media,
that's not how you phrased it on the show notes.
Yeah, social media, get in the sea. Yeah. I didn't want to have the E on the podcast,
Yeah.
so we had to
I
tone it
won't
down.
make you beep it.
We had to tone it down a little bit. So well done to everybody on the news segment. Good stuff all around. And so last weekend, then just a one game for the Stars, back to home action. Solihull came into town, minus one of the top line. Top lines became a bit of a theme, and a big win for the Billingham Stars. 9 goals. You found it. 9 goals to 4 against the Solihull Barons. Nicholas Otterson spoiled the surprise a little bit. 8 seconds opened the scoring. Did a bit of pinball in front of Jacob, but he opened the scoring. And then a good response from the Stars. 2 from Chris Sykes, Michael Elder, and James Helens, all before the first interval. They made it 4-1. Dan Mulcahy pulled one back, but then Sean Galloway. Nicholas Otterson pulled one back, but then James Moss. Matt Morris pulled one back, but then Lucas Dowdle. Ian Brown, 17, and Michael Elder finished things off in the last 90 seconds. 9 goals to 4. A convincing win, and getting back on the bandwagon, as we said, after the defeat in Blackburn. So Carol, bouncing back from that first shift and a huge performance thereafter, and taking a well-deserved win.
Yeah, I didn't even see the first goal. I'll be honest, I was still sorting myself out. 8 seconds. Oops. But let's be honest about that goal. It was a kind of comedy of errors. So no fault given. But important to bounce back very quickly, which we did. Sort of less than 2 minutes on the board, and it's 1-1 already. So I had that feeling like at Leeds the other week where you just thought, well, this is only going one way. I think Solihull didn't help themselves. They were desperately indisciplined in the first period. And nice, given your little non-rant about referees, I did notice even that Solihull's socials basically blaming the team rather than the ref, which was refreshing to see. But you can only, if the other team are losing their heads a bit, it's up to you to capitalise, and we did. So it was an all-round complete performance, as has been the way in recent weeks. The Blackburn game notwithstanding.
Yeah, and the good thing, John, once we took that lead at the end of the first, Solihull obviously came back looking to try and get back into it, but every time they seemed to threaten to come back, we were there with a fairly instant response. So it was good to see from that response, just putting the foot back on the throat and taking the game away from them.
Yeah, I think it was just something that was set out. I think we set out to, if we conceded, we make sure we get that next goal and keep that cushion. And I think we managed to do that on three or four occasions. We always managed to get that next goal quite quickly to when conceding as well. There was never like a large period of 10, 15 minutes going by where you could get a bit nervy or a bit edgy. The lads came straight out, put the wrong right, and kept that distance from the Barons.
Yeah. Now some people might not get this reference, Carol, but the tune that was going in my head when we were zinging it around, particularly in the offensive zone early in that first period, was the tune "Sweet Georgia Brown," which is used by the Harlem Globetrotters, which people might need to put a Spotify link or something in the show notes. But the way we're kind of using the small ice pad at the forum to our advantage, the way we can zing it around, particularly that top line, it was mightily good to see, and the way it converted, particularly getting the 2 Sykes goals in that first period as well. It's talking about using the home advantage to your advantage, and nothing better than seeing them pinging it around like that.
Absolutely, and yeah, you've hit the nail on the head about a lot of that is to do with us taking advantage of that smaller pad at the forum, and being able to find the gaps where perhaps other teams are not expecting gaps to be. There is a flip side, I think, to that, in that when we do sometimes go to the larger pads and we try to play the same game, it's not quite as effective. But certainly at the forum, when it's clicking the way it did on Sunday, it is very pretty to watch. And yeah, those 2 Sykes goals especially, ping ping, and it's in. Really, really good to see. And clearly, if a team wants to come to the Forum and take points off us, they're going to have to do some proper homework, and they're going to have to try and shut us down in terms of shutting those passing lanes down that we seem to find fairly easily.
Yeah, maybe not so much ping ping, but click click boom. If you followed Mossy's playlist, the top line, Jono, getting the plaudits again on the scoreboard. 5 points for Sykes, 5 points for Brown, 6 points for Elder. But as Fuzzy said in his post game, the other lines maybe he's not contributing on the scoreboard as much, but they played their part. You gave a mention to the line with Shuggy and the 2 young'uns kind of just being that energy line, and then Mossy's back with another game under his belt after he's coming back from missing a few games. So again, score-wise, we look like a one-line team, but on the ice and on a performance, anything but.
Completely, yeah. I mean, I think the Shuggy line impressed me most on the night because it was them who were facing a lot of Otterson, and to be able to shut him down. I know he got on the score sheet a couple of times, but they had a hard task shutting him down. Most top lines struggle to shut that line down, but you're talking 3 lads all under the age of 23, 24, and a couple of them are maybe still only teenagers, still learning the game. Along with Shuggy, and doing a fantastic job wearing their first line down to the point where they have to stand out their second or third unit to go up against Ian Brown, Sykesy and Elder, or Mossy, McNulty and Grittan. So good luck to teams who try and do that, because we have a line for every occasion. Yep, granted that the top line does get all the plaudits, but I bet you at bottom dollar if you shut that line down, the next line of Mossy, McNulty and Gritton step up with their goals as well. So a big shout out has to go to line 3 and 2, as just as much as over the goals of line 1.
Yeah, and mention for Shuggy as well. Carroll getting a goal. He mentioned it in his post game, getting the monkey off his back. Fab set up by Joe Walls, who continues to be Joe Walls, and just massive credit to Joe. Managed to fit in a training session this week, but still huge effort from Joe. And they say nice goal for Shuggy, sitting the goalie down and then find the roof of the net over the top of him. And just a huge, again, another one of those ones, the players fitting in to make the system work and playing where's needed.
Yeah, it has been that way for probably 5 or 6 weeks now, that the lines are fluid. I think that's a phrase to use. But every player is doing the job that they are being asked to do, and it's to the benefit of the team. So people are playing for the what's the phrase? They're playing for the logo on the front of the shirt and not the name on the back, which I think is evident when you look at how much we've had to rejig things. It's not that noticeable if you don't watch the Stars regularly. I don't think a neutral would necessarily notice, because people are just doing the jobs that they've been asked to do, and it's working very well.
Yeah, and just a quick one, John, the guys in the pipes. At warm-up, we noticed Graham Laverick was back, but didn't get the start, so possibly still not 100% ready to take some full game action. So Ben Lee in nets for the Barons, and Jacob. I say that first one, a lot of goalies, if they give up a goal like that after a few seconds, they'll lose it. But Jacob is, as we've said a few times, one of the coolest men on earth, and just didn't let it faze him. 4 goals on 41, and Fuzzy said as a team possibly want a couple of those goals back, but Jacob again, nearly 40 saves, and just doing what he does at the best for the back of the net.
Like you said, yeah. I mean, it's easy for any netminder to get flustered after a quick early goal or you like that, especially with a team that's got scoring power like Solihull do, and they could come straight back at you. But credit to him, like you said, cool as you like. it's like it never happened. He was up, he was ready, and determined not to beat by the next shot. He made some critical saves. But yeah, he just never looked flustered, even when the pressure was on him. Calm as you like, and you'd always expected him to make the save, and which is good to see, because there is some big games coming where he will be put under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Anything else on the Solihull game? Just looking, we were 3 for 8 on the power play. I think the best power play outing for a while. 7 of those were in the first period, as Carol said. 14 minutes in penalties in the first period alone for Solihull. And then obviously they got a couple of opportunities, but they were only 1 for 6. So again, the PK doing a solid job. But anything else you want to bring to the fore on the Sunday's game? No.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, we'll leave it at that for the review of Billingham v Solihull. We've got more to come. Looking ahead to the double header weekend coming up very, very shortly. But we'll take a break there, and when we come back, we'll have all the results, the league tables, and a very special interview as well. And we'll look ahead to the Hawks double header, which also features the teddy bear toss. So that's next here on Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Welcome back to Starcast here from your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Later on, we'll go through the results and tables from last weekend in the NIHL North and look ahead to what can only be described as the Blackburn weekend. But now it's our feature interview, and we're pleased to be joined by someone who isn't a stranger to Billingham Stars TV, but he's been away the last year or so with his team on a brand new adventure, and we're delighted to welcome into our virtual Vasilenko suite. It's the head coach of the Solway Sharks. It is Martin Grubb. Martin, evening. Thanks for joining us here on Starcast.
Hey guys, how you doing? Long time no see.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see you. And we'll start with a kind of a twee question, really. But how's things with you, and how's things going with the Solway Sharks this season?
Yeah, good. I think that in terms of the team itself and the league, it's striving like every team at every level. We're striving for consistency. We're slowly getting there. It's still obviously early doors for us. Kind of year and a bit we've been in that league now, but we're doing okay. Travel's a little bit longer than it was just coming down the road to see you guys in Billingham, and so spending a lot more time on the bus and in hotels, but you get used to that, and everyone else is it's going well. We're enjoying life right now, and we've had a good weekend just past, so all good right now. All good, thank you.
Beating MK Lightning always seems to be a highlight for teams in the NIHL National. I don't know if that's a habit you've picked up from the other teams, but from afar, it looks like the national division, as our division is this year, it looks like on any given night the division's wide open and any team can beat any team on their night.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not sure about your division. When I looked the other day, I think 15 wins in the league out of 17. I'm not sure anybody is beating you guys much at the moment. So fair play to Fuzzy and the boys. But yeah, for us, I think anybody can beat anybody. Milton Keynes and Leeds are two of the top teams, and everybody's striving to catch the guys. But right through the league, if you take a night off, or if you just decide to maybe show a little bit of disrespect to a lower level team, then you're going to get bitten. And for us, it's maybe a little bit different. We're playing as underdogs the majority of the time, but we quite enjoy that now. We've managed to kind of find our way in this league so far, and as you say, beating MK on the weekend was good for us at home. I think that's 3 games in a row. We've picked something up for them, so it's fun. I think that's the key for us. It's fun, it's good hockey, and as you say, on any given night, you're going there to win now. We're not just going. First year, we're maybe going to compete in some of the games, if I'm honest, trying maybe not to get beat by a bigger scoreline than we've been used to. But now we're going to win every game. We're trying our best to get to that level of consistency, and credit to the players right now. They're doing okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Carol?
Yeah, I'm going to ask a really obvious question, for which I apologise. What do you reckon the biggest differences between North 1 and National now that you've got a season under your belt?
Well, obviously, as we said, the travel's massively different. This weekend we're in this weekend past. We're in Milton Keynes on the Saturday, back in the rink at 4 a.m. You play at 5 p.m. the next night, so a little bit further than going to Nottingham or Solihull, but we've got used to that. And the standard of hockey, I think just the speed of the game, the fact that, as we say, anybody can beat anybody. I think that when we were going head to head in NIHL 1 North, by the end of it was pretty much the two teams, Solway and Billingham, that were just chasing each other and trying to create the best hockey we could. You would get some games that were stronger than others. So I think just the fact that you have to be on the ball any given night. If not, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat heavily. There's probably a difference that you have to get used to really quickly, because if you don't, as I say, you're going to get punished.
So, what do you reckon your biggest achievement's been so far?
Maybe getting in the first place. Getting in the league in the first place was a massive achievement. I remember having once we won that second year in Coventry, I think I'd knocked 3 or 4 beverages into myself really quickly, which is not like me, and went to meet John Neville and Steve Nell, and we had a chat, and I was full of bravado saying, we'll see you here next year in the final. And then we're back down to earth with the figures that it would cost. So obviously we met John, it was John, David and Phil as owners, and kind of had to sit and wait on whether we could find the finances. And as my mum used to say, what's for you won't go by you. So it was waiting on that. So I think getting in around as the only Scottish team around some of the criticism on travel was a big thing. And then there's some of the games are just, I'm not sure if they're biggest achievements, but they're memorable. For me personally, we beat Hull last year, 27th of December, we're 2 goals down with minute 59 to go, pulled the goalie twice, equalised with the goalie off twice, and then we win it in overtime. So, I think as a coach, you knew you had to work and you could impact your team. We managed to beat Leeds in a shootout. We've done really well against MK. So some really good results in this league that are really memorable. But I think still just getting into the league was a huge in itself. And I'd love to see more Northern-based or even Scottish teams get in and let's go this game a little bit.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about Sharks pulling the goalie to equalise late on and then winning a game in OT, but thanks for that, Martin. Jono?
I apologise.
Yeah, mine's more aimed at yourself, Martin. Like, everyone knows you're a great coach and you dominated our level for years. So now you stepped up. How do you see, your coaching role? Have you adapted, or is it, this is my philosophy, I'm sticking with it, and this is the way we're going to go?
Probably a bit of both, John, to be honest, because I think my philosophy is my philosophy. We like to play the game the right way. We like to try and be as skilled as we were at every level we've played at, and try and build the team that way. If you want the truth, I think maybe it's hurt us a couple of times, because I've said to the team we've maybe overplayed and we've tried to play that, for want of a better word, maybe the sexy hockey that's hurt us. We need to learn to be grittier and ground out the kind of ugly road wins. So I still like to think we've got that philosophy. But, if in terms of growth for me, you're a lot busier. I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that there's more video, there's more tactics around things. You as a coach, your structure, your systems, the little things that you can impact can help the team. Whereas it never happened every night, as we all know. No disrespect to anybody in any level of the sport, but we played SNL and some of the nights on the NIHL North, we could turn up and win. And I thought the players found that a bit difficult, and I actually found it a little bit boring, if you want, for again, I want a better word. But this year and last year, you've got to work, you've got to actually be switched on as a coach. At the weekend, I think Sunday, for example, we probably had to outcoach Milton Keynes because we're not as talented as them. So it's a lot more to get your teeth into, and you've got to. I've learned I have to maybe have a little bit of come and go with each team and the way the game goes to set out your plan. You can't just go to be that kind of free-flowing, open team, because if you play too open, you're just going to get beaten. I'm still learning that. The team are still learning that, and hopefully we continue to grow on that and pick up results every weekend.
Yeah, so that kind of moves me on to the next bit as well. Like, you as a club, you were renowned for producing talent no end. How do you still see that development side from yourself? I mean, obviously it's not as easy now because it's a lot less development based, but obviously you've got a few kids down in Widnes learning down there. How do you kind of set that tone of still bringing the talent through, but obviously getting them on the ice at the right levels at the right time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's massively key for obviously not just us, but every club in the game itself. And right at the beginning, we were able to set up an official academy program, a kind of prospects program, where we took 5 guys. They trained with us pretty much full time. We obviously, when we had Joe Coulter and Widnes originally, we were able to set up that program where they were getting National League level practices. They were getting the video. They were getting every bit of detail that the same as say an import player or a top end player here would get. But their game time was becoming more valuable between their own under 20 program here and the Widnes level, and I think it's helped. I think they go to Widnes on the back of learning what we've been teaching them here. It's little details that are making them better. They go there a lot more confident, and we've got a couple of more kids on that. I think you guys will have been aware of likes of Bailey Thompson. I think Bailey's come on leaps and bounds. Owen Ray. Logan Reed's there. We've got a couple of more and older guys, and Andy Craig and Scott Kirkpatrick. But there's more underneath. Thomas Vrostek went in there late, so there's a number of them. But the biggest key is, as you rightly said, is getting that balance of the right ice time at the right time. So they play a probably much more offensive role in their own junior hockey. They can showcase their time on the puck. They play a bit of special teams, at a higher level in Division 1. And then the practice-wise, it's just really picking up the defensive side of the game, the details away from the puck. And learning that if you don't take care of the puck, or if you don't, if you miss an assignment at the National League level, you're going to get punished. So I think across the board, we've managed to. It started pretty well. It has to continue. They have to continue to work hard. They follow the gym program up here as well now. So long may that continue for us as a club in Solway, where we keep identifying the younger they are, we keep identifying them, we keep them on that pathway from kind of grassroots right to our level and hopefully above and into national teams. And it's worked so far. Hopefully it continues to keep working.
Yeah. I mean, we had Widnes at our place 2-3 weeks ago, and we saw Bailey, and I think Thomas Vrostek scored one of their goals as well. So we've seen them obviously develop this season. A tough year on the ice at Widnes, but the experience, I'm sure, will do them in good stead. Looking at the club as a whole, Martin, when you were in NIHL North, I would argue you were a professional club, possibly with a small P. The way you did things was a professional. Now you are a kind of a professional capital P organisation. Have you noticed any kind of changes around the way the club kind of is, or have you tried to keep that small club feel around the place?
Yeah, I think first and foremost we've tried to maintain our values were built on the Sharks family. Is people see that online a lot. We still try and keep that value. It's a family club. It's grassroots right to professional level now. So we like to keep it inclusive for the community. It has to be community based. But the thing that you do notice is everywhere the players, especially the players now, everywhere they go, whether it be just uptown to do their shopping, to school visits, they're a lot more recognised. I know some of the guys can't go to the supermarket on a weekly basis without people recognising them. So I think there's a higher responsibility now on them to be professional. You add in the number of practices and both on and off the ice now. That's changed a little bit. Our social media is ramped up a little bit more and trying to be as visual as we can online, because ultimately, it's bums on seats, and as every club needs it at that level, you need the money coming in. So there is some changes, but I think that the main thing for us is we've always, and I personally have always recruited on people first. It doesn't matter what team I coach, whether it be a junior team, a club team, a national team, a pro team. It's people, then it's an athlete, then it's a player, and we've tried to try and keep that value, and ultimately try and keep it fun. Whether it is a bit more pro sport, it has to be fun. The players have to enjoy themselves. There has to be a connection with the fans, and I think we've done a decent job in that. There's obviously been some times where things are against you, and you've kind of got to keep the heat, as they say up here, and just stay level-headed. But I think that it's trying to get that hybrid model between the same values, the small club kind of community feel, and obviously growing it and being professional at the same time.
Yeah. And talking about professional and fun and social media, as a podcast, we are contractually obliged to mention John Strange, if not have him on as a guest later in the season. How's
John the podcast, Craig? I've never seen him on a podcast or online. He's very shy.
He's a shy person. Yeah. As a shy guy running the show now at Solway on his own now this season. You mentioned the early days, getting him involved to start with. How's John Strange been for you and for the club?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing anybody that meets him that knows John, his passion for this club now is incredible. He bought in. Jamie Thompson and I met him initially. It was meant to be a 15-minute meeting out of courtesy. I think he's told this story a few times on various podcasts, but it was 15 minutes initially. It was meant to be. It turned into it was maybe 3.5 hours. Then a phone call on their way home, and then he was down the next week. And before we know it, we were making all sorts of huge and weird and wonderful plans to try and make this work. So the one thing I give credit to John massively for growing the club, especially in the kind of showbiz model that he loves to go in, buying into it and also running with our values, still embracing our fans, our Sharks family, everybody, the volunteers on match nights. And I think you guys know as much as anybody how key these people are to running your hockey club and your game night. And he's bought into that side of it as well as the professionalism. So it's been a breath of fresh air for us. And he's an energetic man who loves the team, loves the club now, loves the town. And I think I can only see it going from strength to strength as long as he's involved.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who's been part of the Sharks for 4 or 5 years, as I was lucky enough to be, I can get that, how you can come down, see the ice bowl, see the people, and you're kind of hooked, because it does have that kind of appeal of, and I can see why he bought in and why he's obviously 2 years into however long it's going to be this project he's on.
Yeah, he's determined to win. I think that was one of the first things also he's seen for Jamie and I. Obviously, the meeting happened really quickly after we had won the national or North One or National One championship for the second year in a row, and so he knew he was. And I think he liked the fact he was buying into a club that was already winning. That was our structure was in place. The leadership we had was there already. So he loves that as well. So I know he's got no intention of going anywhere, but he does have huge intentions of making a big splash, and for us to be picking up silverware sooner rather than later, which, as a coach and as a club and players, we all want that anyway. So it's definitely been, a breath of fresh air for us to have him around, and I don't see this project ending until he's fully satisfied, and if that ends at all, but he's definitely bought in for sure.
Yeah, good one. Carol?
I checked the Stars Facebook account memories today. And this time, 2 years ago, to this day, we were in Dumfries, and the final score was 8-0 to you guys. I think it's fair to say that everything's changed for both teams since then. I was just wondering, what's the most unexpected thing that's changed for you that you didn't appreciate before you went to the National League?
I think the people, if I'm honest, we were really comfortable in North One. These kind of relationships that we're kind of reliving now were were good for me. We went to rinks that we knew the people. We had a good relationship with. We were looked after. Even in some of the rinks that the club, maybe doesn't have as much a say in what's going on a game night, but we were always looked after. And even with the fans, when you went away from home, you knew faces. There was a bit of banter, and when you come to this level, it starts again. And I expected it to almost. It might sound bad to people, but I thought there would be higher standards in changing rooms, and the game night experience, the ice surfaces. But it's still British hockey, right? It's still the same rinks, the same problems. We're probably included in them, but it's the same problems. So I think I maybe just took for granted that, the relationships we had built, we kind of expected that they would just carry over. People would maybe know us as a relatively nice and successful club, and you go back to the bottom and you're the small fish, and you kind of feel that you may not get treated with the respect you deserve initially, but you've got to earn that. So probably going back to that part and just earning the respect of everybody in our league for the beginning again is, I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but it's been different, and something that we've had to overcome. And I think now that we're seen as genuine members of this league now, and hopefully we're adding value to the league, that it's changing in a positive way. But it's difficult when you don't know everybody every rink you go into and see friendly faces like yourselves.
Oh, thank you. I was also wondering, obviously, us small fishies in North One, is there anything that we in North One, the clubs that are currently in North One, can learn from the Sharks' experience over the last few years, now that you've experienced life at a higher level?
It's a tough one. I still just think the clubs in North Ones, South Ones, should still stay true to their values. When you guys were a bit like us, like you started to definitely. We were fighting with you guys. We fought with Whitley for a bit. We fought with Blackburn at times, and people have stayed true to developing their players locally, developing their youth prospects, getting the guys first team experience, and you will always get success one way or another. It may not always be trophies, but there'll always be success. And I think we're good at. I think we were good at that in North One. I don't think people should change their values just because they think they're going to go either to a higher level. This year, I got a lot of grief this year. This summer, I had to answer question after question about why we're not signing X, Y, and Z and paying all this money. But I felt that we had to give the guys that got us there a chance, because they would be 1 year better off than for being in last year's league. And I think so far, hopefully, it's proven right. And I think, whether it be Billingham, Whitley, Blackburn, even Widnes now, it's a tough year for them, but they'll be better if they just stick true to their values, stick to playing the game. And I still think that we're clearly underappreciated, especially the top end. When we left, and I say going back to how close our games were, but like the hockey's better than people think. Some nights we all know, and we all appreciate that the hockey was not great at any level of the sport. It can happen, but I think we should stick true to playing the game the right way, and that league should continue to develop these players, because if they have to leave, whether it be Solway, Billingham, whoever, for a higher level, we've played a huge part in our development, because I think we've done a better job than people appreciate in developing young British hockey players, and that for me develops the game overall. So that's probably underappreciated in North One, South One, and the lower levels of hockey.
Cool. Jono?
Yeah, so kind of right on the back of that again. You mentioned obviously that the team sticking true to their values, and it's something that Billingham have done. They did a reset, bringing the youth through, and a set a plan of saying this is when we hope to battle for the title. What's kind of your ambitions now, and what's your ambition for the season and the longer term? Is it 5 years we're competing for the league title, or is it we just naturally progress?
Well, you know me, Jono. I think last year I wanted to go in and win everything, but realistically, that was never going to happen. We were probably disappointed last year that we thought we could squeak into that 8th spot, and we were close, but not close enough. So this year, for me, a minimum is the playoff spot for us. But I'd like to see us as pushing up the table, in at least a comfortable spot. I don't think there's any reason why we can't push up. Top 4 might be a bit tight, but anything between comfortably for 6 to 8, even if you are 8th spot, I'd like it to be comfortable, not a kind of last weekend and squeak in there. But I think if we get in there, and I said the same last year, if we had gone in the playoffs, I don't think anybody wants to come here because our home records, even last year, in the first year, it's been still pretty good. It's a difficult rink to play in, the small neutral zone. So I'd like to get us into the playoffs for 1 as a minimum and make a real run at it. Make a real run at Coventry. I'd love to get us to Coventry, even in this second year, and see what happens. Over the 3 to 5 year plan, it's got to be to pick up silverware as soon as we possibly can, whilst still continue to develop as many of the local and young Brits and Scottish players as we can. And certainly within years 3 to 5, I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but I'd love to see us right up there challenging, being a kind of hard team to beat, top 4, maybe trying to pick up a cup, trying to pick up, as I say, a playoff title. Because that's what we're built on. We've built ourselves on success. We know how to win. We know, I think the boys have shown over the last few years, they've known how to celebrate a win, and they love that. But losing can become a habit as well, and I don't want us to get into that. So I'd like to see within, as soon as possible, let's try and win something. Let's compete every night, no matter what. We compete every night whilst trying to play hockey the right way and continue to develop players. And hopefully within that 5 years, we'll be considered as one of the top end teams looking to win every year.
So on the back of all that success years gone by and where you're at now, do you still keep an eye on us down, us little fellas all the way down in North 1 still? Do you still look at the league tables and results and stuff like that and maybe see there's a little bit of talent out there you could poach and take back up north?
Of course, it's my job. Like I have to, as I say, when you get out of that league, you realise that you've made friends in that league. You enjoyed being it was more enjoyable maybe than you thought at the time. So yeah, I still look on the bus, whether it be a Saturday or Sunday. You're looking. I look at the Elite League, and I kind of love watching some of the interviews of some coaches more than others, and have a bit of fun with that. And then down the way, if I'm honest, I keep an eye on the South, but not as intense as I would, and as in detail as the North. I know more about what's going on in the North. I know more of the players, and yes, looking at players for sure, we look and say, like, if there's anybody we could steal, as there's young guys coming through for the Stars and general, still look and see that veteran core that you've got, ripping it up, and I kind of laugh to myself thinking I'm probably not stealing these boys. Like they've maybe passed that part and enjoying where they are and leading as veterans, but there is you guys have done what we've done in the past and changed the mentality and a winning culture. You've got some good young guys coming through. I love the fact that Fozzie was when I was still, we were still playing each other in that league. He made it very clear when he had Rob beside him that was what he wanted to do. Long-term plan. We spoke quite a lot actually when we played each other, and he used to ask questions on how we did things. And I actually quite like the fact that I've seen some of the videos that the style of hockey is still super offensive, like the right way. It's entertaining. I think that we joked on the weekend that we come back for 2 goals down. We eventually get an overtime win, and John Strange is it's not good for my heart rate. But it's an entertainment business, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. We need entertainment, and I think teams in that league, some of the scores, some of the games, they're highly entertaining games, and there's a lot of good players in there. So I don't think I'll ever stop looking at North 1 because it's still close to my heart. It's still, when we had a lot of fun and a lot of success, yes, but there is still a lot of good people in there that I enjoy keeping up with what's going on. Obviously, I was there in Coventry last year, more on a bit of scouting mission, but watched you guys, and I was desperate for you guys to pick up or continue the mantle of Kings of the North, and got my money on you this year, so no pressure.
I think is it Ben Painter would have had a heart attack if the Stars won it this like that. Yeah, I think he'd have just give up hockey all ends up if another North team took it off him. I exchanged some messages with Paints after we moved up into the National, and fair play to what he's done in Streatham. But I think you're right. I think that might have been enough to end his hockey career. And
Yeah, I thought it was a difficult game. I think if you'd played the first 20, 25 minutes like you finished the game, you win that game comfortably. So, as I say, no pressure. My money's on you this year. We want that Kings of the North title back. It has to stay up here. So, and you've got the players to do it.
I need some of those guys on a two-way from you.
Well, maybe we could do some sort of deal to make that happen. I think you've got the players. You look at that veteran core, and obviously you bring Ian in as an import, and he's scoring a lot of goals now, and you've got that younger group with energy, and the goaltending's been solid after Tom moving on. And I think from the outside looking in, it looks like it had been growing anyway, but it looks like a real team. Everybody loves to play for each other. Everybody wants to play for the fans. The fans are obviously engaged with the players. It's always been down there. And, I think I love what's been happening down there. So I think stick to what you need to do. Stick to the plan. Go in there this time. I think believing they could win, and comes back to the North.
Sounds like he wants to be a member of the supporters club, John.
I'll get him signed up.
It's good colours, It's a bit like the Detroit colours, so I can live with the colours.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
I'm sure that's not accidental. Yeah. Just one from. I mean, we mentioned it jokingly at the top. How's the Vasilenko suite? We haven't seen it in any of your social media, so I hope you're looking after the place for us.
Well, I think we kind of retired the original Vasilenko suite with the North one, because I think you have to be a special person to get in there and get access to the Vasilenko suite. So
yeah.
We kind of moved that one on more into we're more into a studio now. I'm not sure. We've not named it yet, so we'll maybe have to run some sort of competition to see whose name gets on that. Maybe I'll get my own name onto that. Maybe it
has
can
to
be
the Stu and Tonner studio, surely.
I don't know. I still think it should be me, but I'm maybe Stu. Obviously Ross is still, as he's involved in the coaching now, he'll still want his name on it, even though he went to the dark side for a year. And so we'll rename that studio at some point. But yeah, the Vasilenko Street still got a special place in my heart. It holds a lot of memories, but we've kind of shut the door on that with North One, because it was a members only club, that, and you guys were lucky members.
Definitely. Anything else from Carol and Jono? I think we're coming to the end of our time.
I'm still trying to work out what Sadie's dropped in, but I might have to watch this back later.
What I can tell you is there was 2 and they've both been put in.
Damn!
I wasn't sure I'd get both in, but I've still both in, and hopefully she'll appreciate that. Right. I missed the interview roulette as well. We've, as I say, always had really good times, home or away with our chance.
Any chance of a Sharks 2 team in the future?
Maybe. I think it's watch this space. I think it would be for us to grow. I think for us to grow and really help our younger players, it would make sense, rather than sending them, again, no disrespect to Widnes, but rather than making them travel and have to go to Widnes. I think we've got enough of a young core now. If we could get commitment out of maybe some of the veterans that have just retired or still harbour hopes of playing, I think we could. It has to make business sense, and it has to be a team that would be fully committed, because I don't want to become that team, well, especially with our reputation we've built, but you don't want to become that team that turns up and with half a team every week and gets thumped for people. It's not what the game's about. I want to respect the game first and foremost, but it's definitely on the horizon, I think. Whether next year might be too soon, I don't know, but there's been some discussion. So watch this space, and maybe in a few years I'll be too old to go in the National League, so I might be back soon and bring that team to Billingham.
Don't you dare.
It's been great catching up, Martin. We'll wish you all the very best for the rest of this season and beyond. We'll, if any of the Sharks fans, any of the Stars fans, I'm getting mixed up Ian already, any of the Stars fans, when we've got a weekend off, we'd encourage them if they want to have a trip over to Dumfries and experience the Sharks game night. Would encourage you to do that. But wish you well, Martin. Appreciate your time tonight, and we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, love talking to you guys, and I miss you guys. But good luck for the rest of the season. Any Billingham fans will always be welcome, and if you do come up, make sure you wear your Billingham jerseys, because it'll be a blast for the past, and we'll have Iron Brew and Tenants on tap for you.
Awesome.
Who can possibly refuse? Cheers, Martin. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye now.
And there he goes, Martin Grubb. Good little chat, and as Martin said, a bit like going down memory lane as well. Remembering, I mean, he mentioned the pulling the goalie and scoring goals. That wasn't a good memory, but still. But no, good memories, and obviously what they're doing at the minute. Interesting how he's still kind of year two. They're still growing and getting better, Carol.
Yeah, it's great to talk to Martin. It was always insightful to talk to him after games when he was part of our setup. So it's been really good actually, just to catch up, find out how it's been going up there. I must say, I do look out for their results, just because I don't know, it feels like they're part of the North One family. They're kind of flying the flag for North One in the National League. Yeah. So yeah, really, really brilliant to talk to him and to hear how it's going. And I will continue to watch out for their results.
Yeah, and the development stuff, John, interesting from what you asked him about. They're still trying to do that development, even though they're higher up in the pyramid.
Yeah, and I think it's huge. You see what the Steelers are doing with their stuff, and obviously us, we now have the books in place where we can get some young kids some major ice time, and it's going to be the same for the Sharks. Just because they've gone up a level doesn't mean that development or that attitude towards bringing the next best thing through your academy changes, and it's good to see that Martin's still got a very keen eye on that development, and obviously it'll help him in the long run. I mean, we know he's GB20's coach, so he gets to see that young talent there as well. But yeah, it's massive for the game what he's doing, and above all of him being a great coach, he's a great guy as he comes across there, and he loves the sport, and he wants to see everyone doing well and the sport looking in the best light it possibly can.
Excellent. Well, yeah, it was good to catch up. Thanks to Martin, and wish the Solway Sharks all the very best. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we look at the league tables, the results, and the Blackburn weekend. This is Starcast from your Billingham Town Council, Billingham Stars. Welcome back to Starcast, and as we said, great to hear from Martin Grubb. And we'll wish the Sharks all the very best for the rest of the season. Continue with our normal segments, and we look at the results and tables around the NIHL North Division 1. We'll start with the results. Thanks, as always, for the info that we've had in the game summaries and what we're going to talk about here. NIHL Stats, if you point your browser, nihlstats.wordpress.com. Joe Scutts does a fantastic job with the results, the tables, the stats, and the weekly box scores as well. So all that there for the 4 regional divisions, and well worth a follow on social as well. Results from last weekend then in the NIHL North. Saturday at Hull Jets 2, Nottingham Lions 4. And then on Sunday, another Super Sunday, D-Side 4, Sheffield 1, Billingham Solihull, as we know, Widnes 1, Whitley Warriors 4, Leeds 5, Blackburn 7, and Nottingham 2, Hull Jets 3. That's the results. Jono, anything catching your eye in the 6 games from last weekend?
Well, originally, I think everyone's eyebrows were slightly raised at the Lions win in Hull, but then Hull go and get that result back again the following night. You could argue the Hawks, were they only in second gear, only winning 7-5 in Leeds after what we've been and done there. I mean, there's no real shock result as such. Lions have been improving. We know Jets were missing a few Saturday, and like I say, they got that win back on Sunday anyway. So nothing that really stands out that you think, hey up, what's going on here? Not like last week where we had the 2 big shock results.
Yeah. Carol, anything pretty much, as John says, suggested, pretty much going to form. The whole Nottingham results maybe is the wrong way around, but going to form that weekend.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I'll give Colin at Widnes a plug again, given I listened to his podcast before I tuned into this. And again, every time I listen to that podcast, they talk about how well he played. They don't believe that Whitley were 3 goals ahead of them in that game. and that's coming from I think he interviewed the captain on that podcast. So the result expected, but again, Widnes seemed to have put in what they would consider to be an improved performance, and probably building on the very big shock result they had the weekend before.
Yeah. Oh, it was just looking at the score on Joe Scott's box scores. It was a 2-1 game inside the final 10 minutes, and then Phil Edgar put a double inside the last 10 minutes to take it away to a 4-1 final. But again, possibly a closer game than the final score might suggest. Widnes 0 for 7 on the power play. That could be something they work on training this week to maybe close the gap on some of those goals. So the results then, we'll quick look at the league table. I'm very sorry, the graphic's very small, so I'll must do better next week. But Billingham still top, still a 9-point gap over Blackburn, who have a game in hand. Then it's Hull, D-side, rounding out the top 4. Warriors, Solihull swap places in 5 and 6. Nottingham Lions, Sheffield, final playoff spot, just ahead of the Leeds Knights. And Widnes still more or less hanging on by their fingernails in 10th place. But that is it. Cup tables haven't really changed since last week, so we'll not bother looking at the cup tables. They'll start to take shape over the next 2-3 weeks when we start playing cup games again, which we haven't done since September, it feels like. But that is it for the cup games and the league tables. Anything for before we start looking at next weekend? Just the league tables as they are, and say the top 2 teams are the top 2 teams, and they'll decide something this weekend coming, perhaps.
Possibly.
Yeah. So before we talk about a double header for your Billingham Stars, and the full fixture list for next week: Saturday is 3 games: Blackburn versus Billingham, Solihull versus Widnes, another Saturday Solihull game, and Leeds versus Sheffield. That'll be a big one down in the playoffs, 8th and 9th. And then Sunday, 4 games on the Sunday: D-side Leeds, Billingham Blackburn, Hull Whitley, and Nottingham Solihull. Before we talk about our games, anything else catching your eye on the fixture list next week?
I think we should be looking at the teams that are bouncing around all over the place in terms of consistency. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on any games involving Solihull, Whitley, and D-side, who are all schizophrenic, to say the least, at the moment. So I'm going to be keeping half an eye out on those guys, just because I'll be honest, anything could happen with them. You think you know what the result's going to be, but honestly, after the past 3 or 4 weeks, I have no clue. So I'll be looking out for those guys just to see what sort of performance they put in this week.
Yeah. Anything on the podcast footage, John, or anything? It's not quite a Super Sunday. There's just 4, not 5, but
yeah, just the 4.
7 games in total.
Yeah, decent weekend. A lot of hockey to talk about. I mean, the whole Jets Whitley Warriors is probably one that probably stands out other than our own. But other than that, I think you could probably pick winners in every other game. Yeah.
No, it's good. Let's say 7 games on the schedule, so a good helping of NIHL hockey to follow on. But as we know, we'll all be focused on Blackburn on Saturday and back at the Forum Ice Arena on Sunday. It's a Hawks doubleheader. Both teams pretty much full strength, maybe 1 or 2. I think we didn't mention James Royd. He's still suspended for Blackburn. Callum Wilkinson missed last weekend with illness. We'll see how he is this week. Billingham will have players back from suspension, so as full strength as we probably get. And the word barn burner probably invented for this weekend. So Carol, you can start on looking ahead. Blackburn Saturday, Blackburn here on Sunday. Anything we can learn from the last game, or do we just wipe the slate clean and start scratch and play as best we can with the players that we have?
I think there were lessons that we could learn from last time. I think we discussed it at the time. Foz said it in his interview as well. We played too narrow. We stood too far off them, especially their danger men. you can't give somebody like Jacob Lutwich that much room and expect him to do nothing with it. I think we have learned that we can't expect to play exactly the same game on that massive pad as we do at the Forum. So I think I am expecting two very different games, actually. I'm quietly confident about Sunday. I don't think there is a team in the league that has the game to get the better of us at home. I'm sure. I'm really hoping this doesn't come back to bite me next week. But Saturday, I do hope that we have taken on board the kind of the mistakes that were made when we went to Blackburn last time. So Saturday's all up in the air for me. Sunday, I'm a lot more confident about.
Yeah. And John, also, as we said, Stars approaching full strength, first time in a while, including 6, possibly 7D available. Could that be where we have maybe an advantage, that the extra strength in D, which we were maybe lacking a couple of weeks ago?
Absolutely. You won't have guys like Tommy Spraggan or James Helens absolutely ran into the ground. You're going to have Ben and Stats who are both just as mobile, more than capable of picking up good minutes at the back end. We know what the Hawks are going to bring. We know what they're going to do. They've showed the hand. They had no choice but to show the hand. And we just need to be ready. We need to prepare properly. Be ready to go at that first drop puck, because we know they're going to bring all that speed in the first 5 to 6 minutes. And we know Andrew McKinney is just going to try and disrupt all night long and put us off our game. So we have to be ready for that and take our chances when they come along. I mean, we didn't get back into the game a fortnight ago by fluke. We worked our socks off. We earned that way. We dominated that second period. So we show that we can go there. We've shown that we can dominate. And to be fair, we're a good puck possession team. So we just need to get hold of the puck, get it early, and just quieten them down and keep hold of the puck and don't let them bring that speed towards us.
Mm-hmm. New face in the Hawks lineup, Carol. Liam Charnock was announced last week, made his debut last weekend. Still be getting the rust off, as we said, after a couple of years away from the game, but an EPL player in his time with the Steel Dogs. And once he gets up to speed, a quality addition to the Hawks forward line.
Yeah, very much so. Good player, really good player. He has been away from the game for a while. I'm sure he'll take a while to get back into things. At least I hope he does. Again, let's revisit this next week and hope it's not me putting the kibosh on things. But yeah, excellent player. And when he was at Widnes, which is where he was at last, he was over a point a game. So, at this level, he can do some damage. So one to look out for sure. Yeah.
And both of you, I know, Johnny, you've already kind of covered what we should do or what stop the Hawks doing. So we'll look at the fan aspect of this weekend. We've got the supporters coach going down from Billingham in addition to the normal travelling people who make their trips. I think fans are going to be massive this weekend. We know Hawks will travel in numbers up on Sunday. What kind of difference can the fans bring, Jono, on Saturday and Sunday back at the Forum?
Well, we see what we can do on a home game. Mick and the lads down the front, they're a bit like choir conductors. They get the band started, don't they? Which is huge on a Sunday for us, and I think they'll be massive again this coming Sunday in the home game. So more the reason we take as many as we can on Saturday and let the lads know that we are there. We're there to support them. We're there in good numbers, and we're going to be with them through thick and thin. And any bit of noise, I'm sure the lads can feed off, we'll give them it. Yeah.
And Carol, the way trip, as I say, the supporters coach is running, and that will be a huge boost to the travelling support. You mentioned the away support down there a couple of weeks ago with extra numbers. I say, giving the guys that support, so they know we've got their back down there at Blackburn. It's a huge effort. I mean, the sixth man is a bit of a cliche, but there's also the players have also mentioned it on the interviews we've did them and training talks and post game. They do hear the fans. They do feel the energy of the fans. So anything we can do on Saturday night to help the guys is hugely appreciated.
Yeah, and it's a much bigger rink, so it's harder to get an atmosphere going when you're up against. I think they're getting crowds of about 600-700 at the minute. So yeah, it is really important to get numbers in there purely from a volume point of view, because it's cavernous, I think is the word you could use for Blackburn. It's also quite it can be quite intimidating and quite noisy when they get going. They didn't really do that last time we were there. A couple of horns and an annoying whistle, and that was pretty much it. But you do need to be louder and prouder when you go to Blackburn, just because of the size of the rink, and just to get that momentum going behind some chants. So yeah, bring your singing voices.
And wrap up warm, yes.
And wrap up warm,
as we said a couple of weeks ago. So that's 6 o'clock Saturday at Blackburn Planet Ice. Blackburn versus Billingham. 5:30 as usual Sunday, Forum Ice Arena. Billingham Stars versus the Blackburn Hawks. It's the only fixtures that matter this weekend. It's huge for the NIHL North Division 1. We'd love you to join us. Anything else from yourselves, Carol and John, about the Blackburn series? Anything we haven't already covered?
No, I think just from our point of view, I think our lads just need to be in there positive. We know we're a good side. Look at the signings that other teams have made. The Hawks have brought in another National League caliber player, and that's due to how good we are. So we just need to believe in ourselves, back ourselves, know how good we are. We're a homegrown team. So let's go and put it out there that the way to go is homegrown talent, and get another 3 points on the board and have a 6-point weekend.
Yeah, sounds very good. So hope you can join us 5:30 for my Serena. So expect that it will be busy. I say Hawks will travel in good numbers. So get there early to get yourself your seat in the stands and enjoy the experience this weekend if you are traveling as well. Before we come to a close, just a quick round of any other business. We mentioned it at the top. Sunday, as well as being the Blackburn game, is also our, is it 14th, did you say, Carol? 14th Teddy Toss?
Oh, 12. So we started in 2012, but obviously we had a year off.
Yeah.
For
reasons.
For lurgy reasons. So
can't remember what happened. That's me getting the number wrong, but that's nothing new. So it's our 12th Teddy Bear Toss, Carol, and what do people need to remember to bring, and how should they bring it?
Right, so our Teddy Toss is a little different to a standard Teddy Toss. If anybody's not familiar with a Teddy Toss, what usually happens is when the home team scores their first goal, everybody chucks bears on the ice. Unfortunately for us, our rink is completely surrounded by netting, so we can't do that. So we have a bit of a special thing where we wait till the end of the first period, pull the netting back. Craig hits play on Rochford, and we toss our teddies onto the ice. Now, you have to remember, though, ice is wet. Please make sure your bears are wrapped up in plastic, preferably, because otherwise their fur is going to get wet, and that's not good. We also have to insist that your bears or toys are brand new. Please don't go into your toy boxes and find all the kids' old bears and bring those, because they are being taken into hospitals. So for hygiene reasons, the bears must be brand new. If you don't want to bring a soft toy, we do accept games, books, smellies, anything that can be given to gifts to kids in hospital who are absolutely miserable this time of year, because I'm quite sure they would much rather be at home. But anything that you think would bring a smile to a child's face in hospital, if you don't want to bring a soft toy, that's fine. I'm sure the Supporters Club will accept your donations, and at the table, usually at the front. And other than that, just please do remember not to throw them when the team scores the first goal, because they'll just hit the nets and bounce back off.
But it is always it's a fantastic occasion, and we have our target of last year to look at. So hopefully fans of both clubs will do their piece. And I say Sundays is always a great seeing throw them on the ice, but then the run up to Christmas when we get the players into the hospitals and you see the effect that the donations have is also a big kind of heart moment as well. So it's a fantastic time of the year from the hockey side to the community. So we're looking forward to Teddy Toss on Sunday. We'd encourage people to listen to Training Talks. We had the last one of the current series. We're going to give Training Talks a bit of a break for the time being, but we went straight to the top for the last episode and spoke to Alan Flav, and he gave his kind of half-term report and how pleased he is with things on and off the ice. So well worth a listen. Again, the links will be in the show notes. We debuted Mossy's playlist on Sunday as well. And he likes Sophie Ellis-Bextor as well. Who knew? Murder on the dance floor.
Very eclectic, that one.
Yeah.
You've got Sophie Ellis-Bextor, and then a couple down, you've got Linkin Park, obviously.
Yeah. In the end, and he's the last of his kind, is the other one. I don't know if it was kind of a self-reflective list. So it was like, was it tick, tick, boom, and then he's the last of his kind, and in the end was the last. So, but great choices from Jono. We'll see who comes forward this weekend with the playlist for Sunday. Jono, we'll leave the last word on the any other business to you with your supporters club hat on.
Cool. Just a bit like last week.
Do you have a list again?
I've got the list. I should really write it on my hand, but I haven't. I should write it on my hand. But as the list is out there. She'll kick me if I don't read it out. Bus, if you're not on it, get yourself signed on it. Saturday is going to be not only a fantastic day, but the buses are great fun. Carol even has a sing-song with terrible music choices as well. And you also got to get your raffle tickets for the Christmas raffle because that'll be coming up and getting drawn very, very soon. And just come and say hello at the merch table. We've got all sorts there. Player jerseys, mini jerseys with names on the back, new fridge magnets, new stickers. What else have we got? We've got everything. Sockies, pucks, lanyards, pens.
Dog
cups, bandanas. Snoods, which is getting colder, so they are good to keep the chin area and neck warm. And I'm sure I'm missing something here. I'm definitely missing something off. The baubles, all the baubles have gone, I'm afraid. The baubles sold out. They sold out. We should have bought 100 of them, to be honest. But we know for next year how crazy you guys are and love your Christmas baubles. But yeah, just come and say hello. Get your raffle tickets. Yeah, buy some merch, and if you haven't, get in touch with the Supporters Club on social media and get your name on the bus.
And if you want to vote in the Player of the Month, we did Player of the Month as well at the end of Sunday's game, which I forgot to mention in the news bit. Mikey was November's Player of the Month. One game in particular may have swayed the vote a bit more as well. But Player of the Month exclusively voted for by Supporters Club members. So if you want to have a say in December's. Again, see Jono and the gang at the table. Get signed up with your membership for the rest of the season, and you can have a say who gets the award for December. Anything else that I've missed? I can't think of anything. It's been a good show. Great catching up with Spud from Solway. Some memories coming back as well. But yeah, a good pod. I think one and all. Would you agree?
Yeah, great to speak to Martin Grubb. We certainly miss his interviews with him not being around in our division anymore. And I certainly don't message him as much as I used to, knowing how busy he is on a night now with a much more professional roster that he has. He doesn't have time for chatting rubbish to me on an evening. But yeah, just great to speak to a great coach and above all else, a great bloke. Top
man, yeah. I say I'm up to Dumfries this weekend for an event Friday, Saturday. So I'll hopefully catch up with them in person. Have a quick visit to Sharky's bar, and I am back for Sunday. Don't worry, it's all in hand. That was the first thing on the. Can you come up the weekend? Yeah, but I need to be back for Sunday. So yeah, that's all fine. But we'll bring to a close episode 16 of Starcast. Thank you very much for listening or watching wherever you get your Starcast fix every week. Give us a like on social media, or if you listen on Apple or Spotify, give us a like and a review and all that social media stuff. It really does help with the analytics and all that kind of technical stuff,
Algorithms.
Algorithms.
well, but yeah.
It's all about the algorithm, apparently.
All beyond my comprehension, but yes, if you like it and favorite it and share it, and it helps getting us out there. So thank you for watching or for listening or for whatever you do and however you consume. We'll be back next week reviewing the Blackburn doubleheader. But for now, from Carol and from Jono and from myself, thank you for watching, and this has been Starcast.
Thank you for being part of this episode of Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Remember to like and share this episode, send a review when you can, and follow us on social media for the very latest news and to find out when the next Starcast will drop.